Hello, all. Welcome to the Harnessing Nature webinar series. We're going to give people a few minutes to get in, just kind of chill, get yourself comfortable. We've got an exciting slate of presentations today. My name's Joy. Thank you all for being here. Seeing some people join in. We're just giving people a few minutes to sign in. For those of you that are on and listening, we were talking about having to kind of clear out our fur babies, or that they fur babies might be coming in on the webinar. So we totally understand, and we're welcoming of all, except for me. I did kick my cat out because she would just scream at us. So um, felt like that'd be a little bit better. Right. I'm gonna put into the chat the introduction that I'm looking for people to kind of. So if you put your name into the chat, your institution, your favorite snow my God moment in nature recently or in the past, just put it in there as a way of us getting connected. I'm going to give about one more minute for people to join that want to, and then we're going to get ourselves going. As you're thinking about your snow my God moment, we are recording this so that other people who might not have been able to get here because of snow or weather conditions or other things, that way we'll be able to send it out. Again, about 30 more seconds to get some more people on. Thank you again for coming. Aw, love the toddler saying, I'm so happy. All right. Well, let me get this started as y'all are entering your name, your institution name, your favorite Snow My God moment. My name is Joy James. I'm from Appalachian State University, and I'm also involved with the Hope Lab, or the what we call the Healthy Outdoor Play and Exercise for Children and Youth. We promote that research and activities that try to connect, well, now all people to nature. So that's how we kind of gotten involved. Um, we have Kim Mitchell, who here is with the UNC System, who's helping kind of manage the Zoom, and one of the reasons that we're here, kind of making these connections. Today's webinar is really about Nature RX for higher education, partnerships, resources that we might be able to find as faculty, staff, and university higher education members to try to connect our students to nature on their campuses and in their homes or in their lives. The presentation we have coming up has a couple of speakers, so I'm going to have them introduce themselves as they get on to talk to you a little bit about what their Nature RX and nature moments are. And at the end of their presentation, it's going to be about a half an hour, we'll open up for questions. However, I do want to encourage you, if there's a burning question, you can put it in the chat or raise your hand, and we'll be glad to address it in that moment as well. So we're leaving our questions for the end if possible. If not, and you're just so excited or you have to clarify, don't hesitate. So with that, I'm going to introduce Dr. Erin Hipp. If you'll go ahead and take this away, hopefully you've got the ability to share the screen.
I think I do. Yep. Thanks, Joy.
All right.
Just get it up. Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Joy, and thanks to the UNC System for supporting this series of talks. So I'm Aaron Hipp. I'm here at NC State. The second two speakers also here at NC State, and our third speaker today is affiliated with NC State through the North Carolina Cooperative Extension. So kind of what we're doing across the state, and also going from kind of a big picture down to the local over the next 25 or 30 minutes. But I'm going to talk specifically about what we've been up to at NC State the past 5 or 6 years. Really, since this little thing, I'm sure we all remember the pandemic, COVID-19. I see Lincoln is in the audience today. Lincoln's going to get multiple shout outs here, Dr. Larson. Right. So, I could probably have figured out to go back a little further than the pandemic, but at least since 2020, we at NC State have been quite active in the nature prescription and the nature and health space here on campus. And so this is a paper of all NC State faculty and students, as well as some folks from the North Carolina Rec and Park Association, where we were looking at park use during the pandemic across the state. But Lincoln and his postdoc Lauren Mullenbach were also involved in this 7-campus study looking at what students were feeling, self-reporting during the pandemic as well. And students were reporting, these were the four most likely descriptors of how their psychological and mental well-being was changing during the pandemic. So a lack of motivation, increased anxiety, increased stress, and increased isolation. And so that was kind of the framing as we were slowly coming back to campus. And unfortunately, as we were returning to campus in 21 and 22, there were a number, 7 or 8 suicides on or near campus by NC State students, undergraduate and graduate students. And so the university put together a student mental health task force report. And out of that came several implementation groups. Um, and within implementation groups, there was a built environment implementation group and these institutional interventions. And so if you look in the second paragraph, the report calls, with regard to the built environment, designs for healthy physical spaces show promise for promoting well-being, although much is left to learn. Examples of building for well-being include connecting buildings to nature, providing access to natural light, and developing healing gardens. And so Lincoln and I and many others have kind of used this as our call to support our students on campus, ourselves on campus, fellow faculty, and fellow staff. And to kick this off, we wrote a commentary for the North Carolina Journal of Medicine, Open Access, Nature-Based Pathways to Health Promotion, the Value of Parks and Green Space. And just a little piece of things people can do and partnerships, as Joy mentioned, kind of local and across the state. So from this effort, we focused in the 3 areas that universities are kind of known for, right? Like teaching and instruction, our facilities, and our research. So one of the first places is we co-developed this Parks and Recreation course, or this interdisciplinary general ed course, 261, Nature, Health, and Wellness. And this is a photo from the last time I taught the course of students taking a guided hike, talking about ecosystem services in the Lake Raleigh Woods here on campus. Actually, Lincoln's postdoc is teaching the course this semester, and he still took them out to Lake Raleigh Woods and Lake Raleigh last weekend, and he sent Lincoln this photo. His name's Rich von Furstenberg. He's got the red hat and the goatee there, the one that does not look like he's 20 years old. And Rich said the students were really excited. He was nervous about taking them out on a cold, snowy day, but the students were happy to get out there. So we're working in the instruction and teaching space. We're also working in the facility space. We worked with facilities and landscape architecture on campus and identified 55 unique green spaces across NC State's campus. And we've created this public map. So there's a shorter link up at the top that you're welcome to visit. And then you can sort across the top there. You can sort by all green spaces. You can sort by green spaces where you could relax, where you could socialize, where you could study or teach, etc. And then with each of the 55 spaces, there's a little write-up on the side. So this is the Rocky Branch Creek Trail, which is just down for where I'm sitting right now. You can kind of see it here on the map. And it's got a little write-up about what is there, a couple pictures taken by one of our undergrad research assistants, and the categories, so walk and bike and explore. And so this has been made available to anyone, but we certainly share it across multiple spaces on campus. And we've also been working in the research space. We're actually on our third year of working in this bird and nature and student well-being space here on campus, working with a variety of classes each spring. And so the first spring that we did this work was the spring of 24, and that article is out here in the Journal of Environmental Psychology. We're about to have the spring of 25 paper released as soon as I get it off my desk. And then we're actively conducting the spring 26 research. But each of the papers looks at birdsong and nature access and student well-being. And we've gotten a little more sophisticated and rigorous each year. But this first year, we asked students to enroll, and then they were randomized to either take a walk on that greenway from the previous slide, or they were asked to use a Merlin, a birding app. And we had students self-report their psychological distress at the beginning of the semester and towards the end of the semester. And so the students were randomized into the three categories. And so the blue is the starting score, the red is the ending score, and then you've got your error bars here. So we're just outside of significance at 0.07. But the main points here, the control group, they actually became more stressed during a semester, which is maybe not surprising. Those that had to participate in a nature walk became less stressed, but not a significant statistical difference. And those that had to take a nature walk while engaging with the birding app and thinking about nature and biodiversity had a steeper decline in their reported distress. And so again, a part of research that we're continuing to look into now here on campus. So we've done facilities, teaching, and research. And all of this led to last May, at the end of our academic year, we held a one-day conference here on campus, supported by the Global One Health Academy and our home department, Parks, Recreation, Tourism Management, our College and Natural Resources, our Climate and Sustainability Academy, and our Department of Academic Services. And so we all came together. There were about 60 of us in the room, and for one day we met and discussed all the potential overlaps on campus related to nature and health. And both Laura and Megan, who speak next, participated in that meeting. And so we came up with kind of 7 principles here, and I'm going to show you examples of 2 of these activities that we came up with here in just a second. From this group, we have actually named ourselves. We had a little bit of funding from those groups and from the Nature and Health Alliance, a national group. And so we've named our small group the Nature and Health Collaborative. We've got this mission to explore, support, and share how nature and the health of the natural world enhances and sustains the health and well-being of humans and society, and to develop strategies to foster these connections. I joke that there were 5 of us that put that mission together, and each of us were allowed one and. So it's a long mission, but but we all feel like it's an important mission for us. And then the vision is an NC State campus, a city of Raleigh, and a state of North Carolina that fosters learning and well-being through the natural environment. So with this group and with those 7 strategies, I'm going to focus on 2 really quick. One is a research and facility effort. So NC State has a landscape plan where there's 55 future landscape changes on campus, and we're undergoing one of those now in 2026. And so on the right here, this yellow dotted line will, in the future, maybe as soon as this fall, become a marked path of about 1 mile on our western edge of campus that will cross 4 or 5 ponds, as well as a creek bed over here, and some natural path and some greenways. And so it's going to provide all of the student housing here with a 1 mile loop where the students can be exposed to a variety of natural settings as best they can in an urban campus like this. But we're focusing on this little hump right here by the tennis center and the Sullivan shops. And what we're doing in that space is we're going to add some boulders to get to that space off of the greenway, and we're going to add some seating and a little natural path there. But that does not exist right now. So we are currently this semester working with a variety of student groups and faculty and their courses to understand the baseline biodiversity and use of that space. So we're collecting that data now, especially if the ground is ever not frozen again. And we're looking, yes, part of this is to improve the stormwater function of the space, but we're looking to continue to support and perhaps enhance the biodiversity on campus and to increase our student, faculty, staff well-being by having spaces to recreate, relax, and teach. And so these are some of the measures that we had out in the fall where we getting images of wildlife in the area. We're trapping mosquitoes, we're trapping macro and micro invertebrates, we're doing air quality, water quality, and soil samples in the space. And these are some of the images that we captured from the 3 webcams that were out there, including a picture of a fox playing with some of the other equipment here. And so this is what the space will look like. There'll be boulders going across. There'll be 3 distinct areas for students or small groups to gather. And there's a little pine forest here where it provides some shade. So this is in the research and the facility space. Outside of the research and facility space, we continue to work with Megan and Laura in the Campus Nature RX, who will speak here in a second, in this education space. And so we've identified about 16 courses on campus that maybe in the future would make up a minor or certificate in the nature, health, and wellness space. And so you can see PRT 261 in the right here, nature, health, and wellness. There's an environmental psychology course, an environmental sociology course, a medical ethnobotany course, and each of these courses here are instructed at least once per year. So to wrap up with this group, we are in the process and we meet on Friday to most likely host the 2nd biannual Nature and Health Conference here at NC State's campus. So the first meeting was in the spring of 25 at Texas A&M and with the Arboretum in Dallas, or sorry, with the Arboretum in Houston. And we are working with Dean Floyd and the College of Natural Resources to host this meeting in the spring of 27 here on NC State's campus or just off campus. So this group will certainly hear more about that because you'll all be invited to participate and attend. So that's kind of the high level, what we're doing across campus. Laura Boyd and Megan Lupek are guiding our Campus Nature RX space. And so I'm going to pass it to them. And ladies, I'll click as you ask me to.
Perfect. Thank you. So yeah, Laura and I have been heading up NC State's chapter of Campus Nature RX for, I guess this is our 2nd year. But just to give some context, Campus Nature RX is a national, well, I guess international initiative now. And so I won't read the text that I copied from the website, just explaining a little bit more about the idea behind the initiative, but mainly it's to promote better mental health among college students on campus through getting them engaged in nature. And so the program has existed since 2019 and now has over 100 colleges and universities involved. And so NC State has our own chapter, and the chapters kind of look different based on what campus you're on. And we'll talk a little bit about what we've been doing. So you can go to the next slide. So a little bit of history. So last year we are dubbing our planning year, and this is we're going to be calling our inaugural year. Last year we formed an advisory board. We had a lot of interest and passion around this idea, and so we got a lot of ideas from the advisory board. I had two interns that worked for us through the Campus as a Classroom program through our University Sustainability Office. And they helped provide the student perspective and did some research and some background information and things like that. We were able to find some more direction and an institutional home within the Global One Health Academy at NC State. And we were able to kind of hone our focus on student programming as what we want to focus on as our main purpose for our chapter. And through all of that, we were able to create a wonderful website that you're welcome to check out. Go to the next slide. And in case you are interested in creating a Campus Nature RX chapter on your campus, I didn't want to make this sound like it was super easy. So there certainly have been challenges, some of which we're still kind of navigating, but I feel like we're really finding our footing here in this inaugural year. But like I said, we had lots of energy and passion around this project, this idea, which was wonderful. But sometimes with so many different people and voices, it can be hard to kind of figure out what to focus on first and what our priorities should be. And so we really had to think hard about what we wanted to get out of this chapter. And so we were able to narrow our mission to really be that student programming arm of the campus or of the Nature RX work that's going on campus. And we were able to find that home within Global One Health Academy that really has helped us in terms of structure and having a place that we're able to fit underneath that umbrella, which has been great. We're figuring out, and we have been figuring out and continue to figure out how to form and capitalize on partnerships. There's, like I said, with all of the energy and passion around it, there's lots of people who want to get involved. And so it's just figuring out how to direct that energy. And we are determining how to bring others in instead of operating in silos. And one of the ways that we're trying to do this is through our certification process, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So I'll let Laura take the next slide, if that sounds good, Laura.
That's great. Just a few things that we've done kind of in these last 2 years that we've been establishing this is get to the point where we established our website. So I would love for you to check that out. We were also able to expand these partnerships that Megan mentioned. And one of those was partnering with our campus health practitioners and talking to them about the idea of implementing nature prescriptions. That was not a hard sell to our medical staff, and they understand how advantageous that is to our students' overall well-being. And so we were able to implement that. And so we put together the most likely places that students could go on campus, so they don't have to even think about that. And that immediately becomes a part of their electronic health record. And so when they leave for that day, they leave with that prescription. Because we have had such an amazing outpouring of interest and support in Campus Nature RX, we have had a lot of opportunity for collaboration. And in particular, we've been able to partner this year with both our College of Humanities and Social Sciences and our College of Natural Resources. This Campus Nature RX is a student-facing program arm. And so I sit in prevention services where I work kind of at the intersection of nature and mental health. So looking at nature-based interventions. And so in my work, I am specifically working at developing programs, excuse me, that really center on eco wellness or ecotherapy. And so these colleges have very generously provided their support to help with those programs. And so we started that this past fall, and that has been both financial and marketing support for our students. And Megan was also able to help us find funding to become members of the Campus Nature X Academy. So if you are a college who is not yet on board with having Campus Nature X at your university and you are thinking about how can I do it, becoming a member of the Academy is a great experience because they will take you through all the steps, both logistical and otherwise, to thinking through how to make it really successful at your university. And so we are kind of doing that in our second phase, and it's helping us to bolster, I think, our efforts to make this more widely known and hopefully better implemented for our students. We are big in social media, and obviously the students are there, and so we need to meet them where they are. And so we are hopefully going to turn this social media account into a student-run account. We hope to establish a space where we'll have a student organization, and they'll take this over. But you can also check out this account to see what we're doing there to make students aware of good psycho-ed information around nature, but also other great places to spend time in nature. Some of the things that we're working on, we just mentioned being enrolled in the academy. Megan, I'm going to let you talk about the project Wolf Paws that's in progress.
Yeah, sure thing. Of course, yeah. So there was an idea that formed a couple of years ago to have a meditation trail on campus. And the person who originally pitched that idea left the university, but the person who took her spot, you probably need to know all this backstory, but it's been a long time in the making. But this person has become a champion to try to get this back going. And so we, through our, again, forming partnerships and just kind of talking with folks, we were able to create a partnership with one of our professors in Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Management, Dr. Catherine Stevenson, who teaches a recreation and park interpretive services class. And so she is going to have her students take the first go at creating this meditation trail, which we're calling the Wolf Paws Meditation Trail on campus. And so we're really excited to get that up and going and really have not just the meditation aspect, but also have a connection to place. So really have it connected to campus, which is should be really exciting. So we're looking forward to seeing what they come up with this semester.
A couple of these projects we've already mentioned. We are also going to be starting an NIH project that's going to allow us to bring on our campus counseling center as a collaborator, where we're going to be looking at physical interventions as well as nature-based interventions in our counseling center via group therapy. So I'm very excited about that. That'll happen in 2027. And then hopefully also as a STEM school, we also understand that it might not be very pragmatic for us to be thinking about getting every student outdoors, but we know that even just via research that having students to look visually at something that is nature-based, it can help them to enhance their overall health. And so we are going to hopefully establish a YouTube channel so we can do more long form content, and that might be nature-based classroom content. It could be other wellness content from walking meditations. It could be other nature-based meditations and just highlighting other nature spaces on campus. So excited about that as well. And then this is how we encourage everyone on our campus to get involved, is to start by just becoming more informed. And obviously, we really, really want to be openly inclusive to everyone on our campus being involved in this. And so we are encouraging people to do that via their own programming by saying, if what you're doing already meets these values and the missions of Campus Nature RX, let us know by submitting your program through the certification process, and we will help you to market that. So we're excited about getting that launched very, very soon.
Thanks, Laura and Megan. So I think next we have Heather from Cooperative Extension in New Hanover County.
Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Kelejian, and I work in New Hanover County, which is home to Wilmington, North Carolina. I'm based at the New Hanover County Arboretum. But as Dr. Hip mentioned when he was talking, I got involved in nature-based programming on college campuses in a personal fashion because my son was a student at State during that rash of suicides, and he also was an RA. And so hearing what he was having to deal with really made me stop and think about how my work could impact students and their mental health and their overall health. So I began working for a couple years with RAs through him on campus to do houseplant giveaways and potting up activities. And so I actually did that at NC State for a couple of years. And then I also work with several different departments at UNCW. And I began having my students focus part of their internships back on the campus and think about how they, once they learned to engage with nature, how they could bring that back to the campus. And so I did a few things like that. Dr. Hip, could you advance my first slide, please? So here are some of the things that I've done directly related to university students. As I said, they actually called it Plant Palooza, and this is one of the flyers that they created. I believe we did this event 5 times, and it was really great. I would go up to NC State each time that they did the event. Students would come back and say, oh, I still have my plant from last year. It's doing great. I would go help my son on move out day, and in his building, just about everybody had plants in their dorms. And so that was just really great to see the students actually create these bonds around these houseplants that they were given and take care of them all semester and then be moving them home at the end of the year. I also did some plants for lavender graduation last year, and that was really wonderful and well received. I do a lot of teaching at the New Hanover County Arboretum, and the students come out to our garden to learn with the idea that they're going to take some of what they learn back to school with them and share that with their classmates and their friends and in their life. A guest lecture for classes that includes special education, recreational therapy. And I also help out with the transitions program for young adults, which is a program that is housed at UNCW serving young adults with disabilities who are 18 to 22. And they actually have their classroom in the Watson School of Education, where they have a garden that they work in when they can, almost on a daily basis. And so I do a lot of support for that program. And one of the things that we have slated for the spring is to do some campus-wide activities that will be using the garden and will be manned by the individuals who are in that transitions program. So training them to do simple horticulture activities that engage university students on campus and help them with their mental health wellness. I also maintain a New Hanover County extension page where I share resources and very simplified activities that people can access. And Dr. Hibb, if you could go to the next slide. So for me, the reason that I do this work, my background is in therapeutic horticulture. So looking directly at ways that horticulture and nature can help us. I work across a wide range of goals. So sometimes it may be vocational, it may be physical rehabilitation. But since COVID, mental health has become a huge issue across all segments of our society. So I find that I've been doing a lot more work within that realm. And so I like to introduce students to the concept of nature as an accessible and practical resource that they can tap into for their mental well-being. And then they can also take it and use it in their professional fields. I like to share simple ways to use nature and natural spaces on campus for overall wellness. So I've also done a lot of reflection on the way that I use nature, and just noticing that even if I'm like stuck in traffic and frustrated, if I take a few seconds to just divert my attention maybe to the clouds, obviously not when I'm driving, but when I'm sitting at the red light and just watch the clouds for a few seconds, that gets my mind kind of reset and off of the frustrations that I may be having. So teaching students and others just these simple ways that we can connect back to help improve our mood. And then I do help support some campus areas at UNCW that provide opportunities for nature engagement. I was so excited to see the map that has been developed for NC State. That's such a great resource. And I don't have a lot of influence at UNCW because I am just a community collaborator, but I would love to see something like that happen there. And then I just tried to work to build an awareness of our interconnectedness to nature and create foundations for lifelong wellness strategies. You know, sometimes you have to pay to be out in nature, but for the most part, it's a free resource. And if we learn to engage it, it's something that's always there and welcoming for us. Dr. Hibb, could you go to the next slide? So NC Cooperative Extension can support campuses with resources for actionable programming and engagement opportunities for students. Extension is in all 100 North Carolina counties and is very responsive to requests from the community. So anywhere that you live, you have access to Extension. Some of the things that I think collaborate really well with Campus Nature RX that are ongoing in Extension are the Great Pollinator Census, the Plants for Human Health Institute, which is in Kannapolis, North Carolina, and does a lot of research about how plants directly impact our health, and they have some great web resources. There's foraging workshops that come through Extension, lots of other educational opportunities, volunteer opportunities, and often local extensions will support community gardens. So the main takeaway that I wanted to deliver to this group today is that NC Cooperative Extension, that is a partnership between NC State and North Carolina A&T, can be a really, really valuable community collaborator. And Extension is developing resources that will directly connect back to Campus Nature RX. And that is all for me.
Thank you all. I was furiously writing notes throughout this whole conversation, so we appreciate what you have to share. I know I have some questions that I want to open it up to anyone in the webinar. Is there any questions that you have? And you can unmute or you can put your question in the chat. While you're thinking, I'll ask my first question then. Dr. Hipp, I'm curious, that green space map, as Heather was saying, is very exciting. Do y'all have analytics that tell you how it's being used or anything like that?
I was getting the URL. There you go. We do. You know, somebody asked that question a week or two ago. So I don't have the analytics to report, but yes,
You get that. Okay.
because we're an NC State campus, there are the Google Analytics behind there. So the amount of traffic that goes through. But yes, that's a nice reminder for me to request that information.
I just think it's so interesting as another way of trying to persuasive of the value of what you've done and being able to show that across campuses. Still not seeing any questions. I have some more burning questions unless somebody else does. All right, then I'll go in order. So I think it was let's see more of my question. Laura and Megan, um, funding. How did you get funding to go to the academy or get the campus RX start? Like that's been our challenge, like trying to figure out how to move through that.
I was lucky enough to have some funding through some on-campus fellowships that I'm part of, and so they provide us with some like a just an award that we can use how we would like, and so that's how I was able to use that funding to do that. But yeah, I could definitely see that as a challenge. I think that getting one of the things that we're learning in the academy is like getting buy-in from administrators and things like that too. So I think that that could be a good starting point.
And I was able to secure a mini grant through one of the colleges that's helping to do some more unique programming that we wouldn't be able to do without that.
And so does this fall underneath the what do you call it? Let's see, the Nature and Health Collaborative? Is that kind of an arm of that?
How we kind of conceptualize it is the Global One Health Academy is our home organizationally, and shout out to them for taking this on. And then we have the Nature and Health Collaborative, which does all of these amazing broad-based things as this umbrella. And then Campus Nature RX is working as more of a student-facing program arm. But also hopefully someday student research might be a part of that. We also want to highlight all of those courses that students can take that fall in this nature area too. So I think it can have expansion, but this is how we're kind of starting at the inception.
Well, I love Megan. How you come this is really our inaugural year, and then you're kind of learning as you're going. So it seems to be the way of those of campus nature RX. Heather, one question for you that I had was, what plants do you find the best ones to give away? Like I was thinking about a plant giveaway on campus as well, but I don't know what plant that everybody's like, oh, I'm going to kill it. So is there a indefensible plant to college students?
So I actually manage a very large greenhouse as part of my program. It's our indoor classroom, and we grow primarily houseplants, some herbs and things. I mean, there are like pothos is always a great one. Succulents do really well as long as they're, depending on the variety that you choose. I know a lot of students said they had really good experience with that. Calanchulas, mother of millions, Mexican hat, donkey's ears, etc. Lots of plants. The program that I run grows plants that are very easy to propagate and very easy to grow. So I just have a plethora of plants. Snake plant. I believe if I don't have a list on my webpage, I will get a list on there.
And I love how, both Laura, Megan, and you mentioned not everybody can go outside, and it's about the contact with nature. So I thought that was a very important point you made to be able to do that. And I appreciated, Heather, it made me go, oh yeah, I could go to my Watauga a Cooperative Extension County agent and ask for some questions. I had never thought about it from that perspective. So thank you for sharing that.
And I'm just going to add another thing, like master gardeners are great resources for donations. I mean, most of them are master gardeners because they love plants, and a lot of them have, just plants that they want to share. Not all, and I don't want to speak for other counties, but definitely there are a lot of resources out there. Nurseries too, once they hear about this, it's so easy to, if they have a large pothos, to get cuttings from it. And you can also just root right in water. I did a staff activity with the Department of Natural Resources at State last year, and we were just rooting cuttings in water. So there's just so many simple things that you can do that does bring nature inside and gives us a connection.
Well, you bring up a good point. It's staffing. Mm-hmm. Like I give away some cuttings to colleagues, and they're like, "Oh, I'm like, no. If you kill it, I'll have another one," because they just keep making, and so it's more about they love that engagement. So I hadn't even thought about it on a level of faculty and staff. Some programming that we could do as well. So, any other questions? I know I dominated the questions. Well, any last suggestions, comments from our speakers?
I'll add, I mean, there were four of us, and obviously it was biased towards NC State and Extension today. Even on our campus, there's so much going on in the nature and health space. And I'm glad, Joy, that you put this group together this year, because there were, folks from App State in the first one, and I believe the second talk had kind of folks across several different campuses. So, I applaud the effort across the UNC system, as well as within our own campuses for the work that's going on and just continuing to try to understand and think through the best ways to share across the state all the great work in the space of nature, health, and wellness that's occurring. And that's something that we're eager to do. We're just four people, and so being able to hype up all the great work that other folks are doing and share that. And another shout out for Extension, because they are in all 100 counties. So it's a nice way to think about getting nature and health out to all our communities.
Thank you. I think that's some of the challenge that we all face, the different levels campus and not knowing what's going on with everyone. So to be able to have these conversations, like I said, I was writing furiously. I kind of knew a little bit about what y'all were doing. Speaking of which, I am looking for other speakers about urban environments. Our next webinar is on how campuses are interacting and helping urban students reach connections. And of course, you shared some of that as well with some of the work that y'all were doing. But if you know anybody who might want to share out from the different campuses that you're aware of, please let me know and I'll invite them to this next webinar. And I do think I might have missed it, Aaron. Did you put in that conference that y'all are hosting, the Nature and Health Alliance conference?
I will let you know the dates and
Okay.
a link. Yeah, it's actually I can find the group. It's Nature and Health Alliance. It's a national group. The funding's from the REI, it's not Collective Action Fund, but it's Cooperative Action Fund. But yeah, the Nature and Health Alliance. And anyone can become a member. There's maybe 5 or 6 of us here at NC State who are members, students, faculty, and staff. And they've got different groups. There's a research group, a policy group, but it's across the U.S. Yeah, and we've been tapped to kind of figure out in the next 2 weeks if we can host the conference, and looking probably March or April of 27.
Good luck with that. I know it's a task.
I know.
Everything else that's going on. I didn't mean it sarcastically,
No,
but I know it's going to be fabulous. I'd love to come. Other comments from our speakers? Questions? Well, that is our webinar. Again, I thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming, and thank you to all our speakers for showcasing what you're doing and kind of walking us through some of the angles and different ways to be able to access resources. This is being recorded, so we will share it out with the listserv, and then maybe it's something we can get together again in the future to see how we might be able to continue to help support other campuses. So we'll see you at the next webinar. Thank you.
thanks, Joy.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.